Hey everybody, welcome
Hi.
to the... Where are you going?
We're off to see the new Spider-Man movie.
Today? Tonight? No, I thought we were going to go tomorrow. Tomorrow. I was going to sleep with my Spidey I glued him to his seat. We'll be right back. Tonight is tutorial number 8 and we're back to LumaFusion. But it's not just back to LumaFusion. We're going to approach tonight's tutorial much in the same way as we approached making a possible video for YouTube. And of course that was in tutorials 6 and 7 where we covered how to edit video in iMovie. Well, tonight we're going to use the same approach, only we're going to do it in LumaFusion. Now, as I've mentioned before, LumaFusion is a more expensive option than the already available iMovie for your iPad. Of course, all of the options that we explored in iMovie we're going to explore in LumaFusion tonight. So essentially what I'm doing tonight is giving you an inside look at how we pretty much put our videos together here at the bottom line at this point. But first, I've just got to tell you, we have reached our phase 3 goals here at the bottom line. And of course, that was to get our first 100 tribal elders. At the time of this shooting, we now have 106. And I saw your shout out number 102. Welcome to the fold. This frees us up to announce phase 4 a little bit early. And it is our intention to announce phase 4 goals in our next video. So if you get any value in tonight's video, please give us a thumbs up and consider joining the tribe. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe, then hit that top bell notification, and you'll be notified of all future videos. Now, I have no doubt that tonight's tutorial will be a help with you whether you're editing for family and friends or for a YouTube channel that you're considering starting. A real quick note on an upcoming tutorial, something we've mentioned before, and we're finally at the point where we feel that we could do it, and that is a tutorial on lighting for a YouTube video. If you've noticed, we've turned on the lamp behind me. Now this lamp is set so low that it is barely a night light in the evening. But I always have it on because it appears that it is highlighting my back, shoulder, and head area. But what's really highlighting me is my highlight above me. This is an old Hollywood studio trick they used to do even in black and white. And most of the time it can be accomplished with a key light, a fill light, and a highlight. But more on that later. Let's get into LumaFusion. All right, you have your footage. You either shot it during a family get-together or vacation, or you've shot it for your first YouTube video. And that's where the editing begins. We go down to my dock, but this time instead of choosing iMovie like we did last time, we click on LumaFusion. Now we've got it loaded up as a brand new project, just like we have in past tutorials. Now we search for the clip we want to bring in. In this case, we're going to borrow a clip from one of my past videos like we've done before. So we go to our project window and we search for the clip we want. Then we click, of course, to bring it in for further editing. And of course, that brings us into a past tutorial. What we're going to do here is we're going to, as we have in the past, we're going to copy and paste a clip, and then we're going to bring it over to this new project for the purpose of our tutorial. So this is a good time to rearrange our windows. We've covered how to do that in past videos, all right? We're making some room so we can address these clips. So what I'm doing is scanning my timeline so I can find a long enough clip that gives us some room to edit, okay? So we're just going to choose an indiscriminate area on this clip to begin our editing. And we'll just drag our timeline across the cursor until we come to the exact spot that we want to begin our first edit. Now say this is the same situation that we set up in our last tutorial. The speaker is making a point, but then he changes the subject as he's talking to his audience. What we want to do is cut that clip right at that point. Now I have no idea if that's what's going on with this clip, and that's not the point here. The point is, use your imagination and listen to the old man in the last video. Just imagine that this is just such a point in the video. Now, with nothing else on the timeline other than this single stream, We don't even have to highlight this to cut it, but we're going to go ahead and do that. And the reason that we're going to do that is it's always a good habit to highlight whatever clip that you're editing. This would allow you to only edit this clip if that was your intention. So just like in our last tutorial, we're going to make our first cut. We move our cursor down to the little scissors icon there and make our cut. All right, now if you remember in iMovie, this is where we got the little vertical line, and if you highlighted on that vertical line, then you got additional editing capabilities with transitions. But here in LumaFusion, we go down to our little plus icon. Now this is the first actual visual sign that we see of a transition, unlike iMovie. And of course that partially depends on which clip you click and add a transition to. And it'll supply you with a nice crossover. Now just like the clips, in order to do any editing, you also have to highlight your transition. We do so, and not only is our transition highlighted, but we see there are arrows on it. Now, if we click on these arrows, we can shorten the transition or we can lengthen it. Just like in iMovie, you've got total control over exactly how long your transition is. Now, if this is just a quick change of subject, a short transition is probably better. We're going to leave it longer than I'm usually comfortable for so that we can see the effects on screen. And of course, this is the result. We hit the plus button up here and we open up a new project. A nice transition for your speaker to go from one thought to the other. Okay, so what if we needed picture-in-picture like we covered in iMovie? What I've done is I've gone a little bit further in our same clip and I've made two cuts. Now what I'm going to do is drag that portion of the clip back on top of what is remaining of our original clip. And that's done like this, of course, and we bring it right along to where we want to place it, and we're going to place this just a little bit after the transition that we've just made. Now this is where we can provide the video with picture-in-picture capabilities. We've highlighted the clip, double tap on it, and this brings us to the frame and fit editing window. If you haven't noticed, we have two images up here. How do we accomplish picture-in-picture? For one thing, you can move this particular frame out and then highlight this back one. By the way, let's give it a double click and show you exactly what fit to frame means. There you go. Now that will fill your video. Of course, you can adjust the size with a pinch. Now we're going to focus on the second image here. We can now manipulate the size of this window. Any corner will do it, and we bring it down to picture-in-picture size. So we've got our picture-in-picture, but just like in the last video, we have conflicting soundtracks, don't we? We now go down to the bottom of the screen where we've explained to you you have 5 editing window options. We're going to choose sound. And there's our sound wave, our file for our picture-in-picture. Just like in iMovie, there's a volume tab. Click on it, pull it all the way down. Now when we click out of our editing window and we return to the timeline, we can review the process. And from this point, we no longer have conflicting soundtracks. Well, it gives us trailer as a choice or no conflicting soundtrack. Now let's review the clip from just before our transition. Notice the picture-in-picture coming in. Notice no conflicting soundtrack here. We hit play. Just like before, we hit the plus button up here and then we open up a new project. Now as usual, it gives us trailer as a choice or movie. Again, there you go, pretty easy, right? But you may have noticed the picture-in-picture just pops in. Just like in iMovie, this is the time to add a transition to the picture-in-picture. So what we do is we bring our playhead over the picture-in-picture clip. We highlight the picture-in-picture clip, and just like before, we go down to our plus button and we hit transition. Now in this case, it's going to be a fade in because there's no clip prior to it. Now when we move our highlighted clip to the end, when you get it toward the end like that, it recognizes what type of transition you're looking for. You click on the plus sign and hit transition. So now you see your picture-in-picture window blend in and of course, blend out. Now, like I brought up in my iMovie tutorial, you're going to have far more than 1 or 2 clips to edit. And like I also brought up in that tutorial, usually I don't do this type of editing first. The very first thing I do is color correct. Now, I explained in my last tutorial that the reason that I color correct early is because if I do so, when I later split those clips, add transitions, and do all of the editing that I need to do, all of those clips then retain the color correction properties that I chose to begin with by taking an entire block of video, whether I'm going to use only 2 minutes out of 20 or not. And it just makes your whole process so much easier. And if you don't want to be editing 100 to 150 2 to 3 second clips, trust me, color correct early. So how do we do that? It's easy. Once again, now use your imagination here and just imagine before we did any of the editing that we just did, we just have this one clip out there and we want to get it color corrected before we do all of that nonsense that we just did. Once again, it's easy as highlighting and then double clicking on the highlighted clip. Of course, it brings us to sound, and the reason is the last time we were in our editing window, we were in the sound window turning the sound down. Of course, we didn't turn the sound down in this clip, so you notice that the sound is back up, and that's just fine. That's right where it's supposed to be, and it's nice to know that if you have turned the sound down on another clip, your original clips are just fine. Now, the reason I even bring this up is sound editing is what I do at this point also. You break your clips up too early and you realize they all need a uniform sound. This is the easiest and most forward-thinking way of taking care of 2 birds with 1 stone. So I'm okay with these sound levels. We're not going to mess with that tonight. And we're going to go back to the bottom of our editing window, and this time we're going to choose our 5th option, if you follow my cursor. And this is where we have access to tools to color correct, among many other things. But tonight we're going to focus on color correction. All you have to do is take your cursor to the top right end of your screen and click on the star. Now, if you're just beginning to work with LumaFusion, this window will actually only have about 1 or 2 windows highlighted. Some of these are the presets that I've developed over the last 2 months trying to get better color correction in each and every video. So we click on 110, and down in the lower right-hand corner of our screen there, we have all the tools to more finely tune saturation, color levels, contrast, brightness, reds, greens, blues. I would suggest for your first couple of videos, just choose 110 and maybe barely mess with the levels there. I like a slightly darker look, and that's where I'll bring down some of the lighting of the studio. But right here, we're just choosing my preset that I've been using in the last couple of videos, okay? We click out of the editing window and then review our edit. All you have to do is hit that subscribe to the tribe button, hit that top bell notification, and you'll be notified of all future videos. Okay. You really will. But anyway, so now that your sound has been adjusted, your color has been corrected, it's now safe to do those edits that we already covered. Now, further editing will have to be done, of course. Editing between clips, you can use fit to frame not only to bring in picture-in-picture, but if you're shooting with one camera, often what you can do is this. Now, what I did in my editing just then, I made a cut on my timeline. I went in to fit and frame, I slightly increased the image, and that's where I got my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Now we're going to be exploring even further capabilities of LumaFusion in the future, but this should get you started. And really that's what all of our videos have been all about to begin with. We've shown you the apps we love to use, and they've worked for us. We've shown you some of the products that we love, a few we don't like. You're staying on the wall. I'll tell you when you can get out of the corner. Stay. Mouse. And we have a great lighting tutorial all set up for you coming up in the next few videos. And of course, we're going to shoot for Friday part 3 of my review of Peter Jackson's Get Back, that's now on Disney+. Just another thank you to all of our viewers. We've gotten another 2,000 views on top of the 6,000. We're now at over 8,000 views. And of course, we now have 106 tribal members, and are we ready to roll up our sleeves? 2021 has been great, and we're going to stay focused on 2021. But we have our eyes set on 22, but we're ready and we look forward to those challenges. So once again, if you got any value out of this video, please give us a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the tribe, hit that top bell notification, and you'll be notified of all future videos. So that's a wrap on our tutorial tonight. This is The Bottom Line, and I'm Peter Parker, and we'll see you in the next video.